Foundry VTT is a complicated virtual tabletop. There are so many features, tools, settings, and mechanics that it's tough to really cram them all into one video, which is why I've taken my top 5 favorite hidden features that Foundry has to offer and put them into a nice little video for you to enjoy and perhaps use to enhance your game sessions. But before we begin, hello, my name is Naaman. I'm a bit of a Foundry VTT veteran who has been using this virtual tabletop for a while now for most of my game sessions. And trust me, when you see some of these hidden features that I'm going to be showing you, you're probably going to be kicking and screaming about how mad you are that no one has shown you these features before me, that is. But if you have seen some of these features before, be sure to comment down below with what your favorite hidden feature of Foundry is. And don't worry, I'm not just going to be showing you clips of these features and be like, oh wow, cool, neat, right? I'm actually going to be showing you how to access and utilize these features. So without further ado, let's get started. And the first hidden feature that I would like to show you for Foundry VTT is actually by far the easiest one to access and one that is hidden in plain sight, but people still refuse to use it. Configure settings. Now before you go in the comments, trust me, I know how stupidly obvious this one is, but you would be surprised how many of my friends and other professional dungeon masters who I have played with don't know about some of the settings that are hidden in here. Firstly, most mods have customization options which you can use to change certain aspects of them. So every time you download a new mod, you should first check here to see if there's anything that you can change to better suit your game. Secondly, and perhaps most importantly, please customize your interface. Anyone who joins your Foundry world can access this little handy dandy setting where you can customize almost everything about your interface. You can change the theme, the interface scale, the font size, or you could make it to where any interface you're not using automatically disappears after a little bit of time, which is my personal favorite because I like to have a nice tidy screen and I don't always like having all these tools and hotbars and things like that open and visible. So if someone is complaining to you about how cluttered their screen looks or how everything is too small or whatever, just send them to the screen and have them customize their UI to whatever they like. And the permissions tab. Oh, the permissions tab. So if you don't know about already, this is a lot of game masters' favorite settings window because here you can give or take away any kind of permission you want from your players. Like for example, do you have a player who keeps on drawing oddly shaped rocket ships? Or better yet, do you have a player who complains that they can't draw oddly shaped rocket ships? Well, here, at your own risk of course, you can give them permission to use the drawing tool. Or perhaps your group hates those annoying little dots that are constantly buzzing around your screen representing everyone's cursors and are constantly distracting you. Well, here, you can just remove them entirely. But that's the power of Foundry's setting menu, which a lot of people tend to overlook and why I've included it in my list because it kind of flies under the radar. And trust me, this isn't your uncle's Roll20 world with limited settings. In Foundry, you can change just about everything of your base world without any mods. And if you can't change it, chances are there is one out of the nearly 3,500 mods that can help you out. And next up on the list is another easy hidden feature to find and use, but still goes severely underutilized in my opinion, and that is placing notes on the map. And I'm not talking about typing notes using the text tool, I'm talking about putting them on maps in a way that drastically helps those of us who get carried away with making a huge dungeon crawl with perhaps way too many notes and have a party that tends to go every which way except through the door that we planned for. So for this example, we're going to use the first level of the Abomination Vault's adventure because it perfectly captures our problem of having way too many notes, so it's basically a novel, and a party that sees the front entrance to a dungeon and says, nah, I want to swim through the gross smoky water and go check out that shiny thing. And then you as the GM have to remain calm, cool, and collected while frantically trying to flip through the adventure guide to remember what the heck that shiny thing is. But don't worry, because with Foundry, you can take journal entries and click and drag them from a journal onto a map. And then whenever you want to open that journal entry, instead of having to go all the way to the journals tab and open it that way, you can just double left click the icon here and it will open that exact journal entry. And if you have wimpy little eyes like me, you can change the size and color of the icon and font even to make it stand out a little bit easier. And trust me, this can be a little tedious to do for all of your dungeons, but it will be a lifesaver when you accidentally close your notes and need to quickly reference what room is coming up. But you'll be happy to hear that most pre-made adventures on Foundry nowadays come with pre-placed notes already on the map for you to easily use. And as a quick note, haha, you can also allow your players to see these icons, which is a great way for them to interact with the map and your world without having to constantly ask you questions about everything they're interacting with. So be creative, use these journal entries for more than just journals. Show them artwork of a puzzle or a riddle engraved in stone or a trap or something like that. And speaking of notes, I'm looking at mine right now and it says that only 3% of you guys are subscribed. So if you like the video, subscribe. It's free to do. You can always unsubscribe later. It really helps out the channel, and most importantly, it means absolutely nothing to you but everything to me. But anyways, next up is vision, and trust me, I know that you know how to turn on and off the lights in Foundry and how to enable vision and lighting and all that kind of stuff for tokens. That's not too tough to figure out. What is kind of tough and even annoying to figure out are the different types of senses and how to set them up to immerse your players.
Who's that Pokemon?
So for the uneducated, if you go to a token settings, there is a lot of mumbo jumbo in here that all seems like a lot. But we're going to focus on the vision tab, and specifically these two sections here. This is where you can change a token's vision mode. Like if a player equips a pair of dark vision or night vision goggles, they're colorblind and really want to roleplay their character, or something like that. But it's only a visual change. Now this section is where the fun begins. Let's say you have a player who's playing a dwarf with the brand new D&D 2024 rules, and they activate Stone Cunning to gain Tremorsense for 10 minutes. Well then you as the GM can then go into the token settings and add Feel Tremor for 60 feet. Then when you click Update Token, the player can see all the nasty little basties in your dungeon, and you also can get a shocking realization for how big 60 feet of range is for Tremorsense. But there's also other vision types of course, like See Invisibility, Blind Sight, and so forth, which are all just basically different flavors of See Invisibility in my opinion. And pro tip, toggling visibility this way means that no matter what sort of vision a player might have, they can't see this token, only the Game Master can. But if you enable invisibility via a token's effects, then a player with Tremorsense or See Invisibility can see it. But of course, Tremorsense only works if that creature is touching the ground, so if a creature has the hovering or flying effect, Tremorsense can't see it. But before we move on to the next section of this video, let's talk about you and your character, because even though your D&D character might be dripped out with a magical ring of protection and a necklace of fire resistance or something like that, what do you have? Well, that's where the sponsor of today's video, Thorum, can help you out. Because ever since 2012, they've been handcrafting rings that tell a story. And I mean literally, these guys make rings out of meteorite, dinosaur bone, whiskey barrels, and even World War II rifle stocks. Each one looks incredible, like this black meteorite ring that they sent me, which I've already received a few compliments for. And what's even cooler is that each ring has a story behind it that you actually want to share, kind of like how you always want to share what happened last session in your D&D group. And it's not just rings anymore. Thorum now makes super cool looking watches and necklaces like this one that Thorum sent me, which is super minimalistic, stylish, and goes with just about anything in my dresser. They've got over 10,000 5-star reviews, and every order ships within 1 business day. Plus they'll send you a free silicone activity band and a walnut wood ring box with every purchase. Oh, and did I mention that there's a lifetime warranty? Yeah, these things are built to last. So whether you're looking for a wedding ring or an anniversary gift, or just something that's unique that actually feels like you and can even tie into your D&D character, then go check out Thorum.com and use my code NATERTOT at checkout for 20% off your order. That is THORUM.com and promo code NATERTOT, and that will be in the description as well in case you want to copy and paste that. Seriously though guys, don't just wear a ring, wear your story with Thorum. Thank you Thorum for sponsoring this video. But moving on now to the next hidden Foundry feature, how to find free tokens and artwork in Foundry. First, make sure you have D&D 5e downloaded. And don't worry, you don't have to make D&D the game system of your Foundry world in order to access these assets. You just need to have it downloaded onto Foundry in the Game Systems tab. Then go back into your world and make a blank character sheet, then go to change either the artwork of the portrait or the prototype token. Then you need to make sure you're on user data up here and scroll down until you find the systems folder. Also, please excuse my file organization. But once you find systems, go to D&D 5e, then tokens, and then you should see tons of folders all neatly organized by creature type. And pro tip, the Heroes folder is where you can find some basic tokens for just about every base D&D class. Sadly, there are no basic tokens for sci-fi systems since Foundry was designed as a fantasy-first VTT, but most sci-fi game systems come with a folder that have some pre-selected sci-fi-esque icons that you can use, like in Starfinder's case. And to get to these icons, just do what you did before to find the D&D tokens, but click on the Starfinder folder instead of D&D. Then click Icons. But don't you worry, where sci-fi systems starve for icons and artwork, us fantasy system nerds are eating good. So to find this treasure trove of icons, first go to your fantasy world and create an item. Then edit the artwork of the item, then go to Core Data. Then click on Icons, and voila! You have tons and tons and tons of icons from everything from spell effects to loot to scrolls. And if you ever want to quickly access this folder without having to navigate through all these folders, subfolders, and all that kind of junk, most base items or tokens are using icons from one of these folders that I just showed you. So you can easily edit an item you already have, click on the artwork to change it, and boom! you're already where you want to be. And a quick little bonus tip for you, if you have a player who doesn't want to use a 3D token and just wants to use their character artwork, then upload it to their character sheet and make sure it has a transparent background. Then after dragging and dropping their character onto a map, in token settings, you can enable dynamic token ring and adjust the scale slider to make it look good. Just make sure you make this the new prototype token, otherwise all your hard work will be lost. And last but not least, moving on to the final hidden feature for Foundry VTT, do you guys ever just get sick of difficult terrain? Or if you're anything like me, you go through that whole song and dance of completely forgetting to remind a player that an area is difficult terrain, so then you have to say, oh, I'm sorry, I know you just moved, but that area is actually difficult terrain, so you can only get to here, and oh, you don't want to be there anymore. Okay, we can go back here. Okay, sorry, continue with your turn. Well, with Foundry's region control feature, that whole scenario becomes a thing of the past. This is a relatively new feature to Foundry, and I've noticed that a lot of people are afraid to mess with it because it looks kind of complicated in all honesty. But trust me, it's not as scary as it looks. I'm going to show you my 2 favorite ways to use this feature. Firstly, let's use it to set up difficult terrain. For this example, I'm going to use Forgotten Adventures' Rocky River Battle Map, which is free, so you can download the mod and map to follow along if you'd like to. But anyways, let's say that all this water is difficult terrain, and the rest of the map is not. First, make sure you're using the region control tool, then draw around all the regions you want to be difficult terrain. In this case, we only want the river to be difficult terrain, so we'll use the Draw Polygon tool in Region Controls. Then draw around the river so that the whole river is highlighted. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect, especially if you're using a square grid system. But once you're close to finishing this giant polygon shape, make sure you connect the last leg to your starting point, otherwise it won't count as a region. But now that the whole river is highlighted, a window will pop up for this region, and you can either name the region or change its color, which I'm going to do both of, but I'm going to leave the rest of the stuff untouched, because we want to move over to the Behaviors tab. In this tab, click the plus symbol, then select Modify Movement Cost from the Type drop-down menu. Then click Create, and from here you can change all movement costs. Since in D&D 5e difficult terrain means it costs double movement, we're going to change the walk speed to 2 and leave the rest unchanged. But now that we're done, click Update on all these windows to close them, and your new region should be set up to accurately show difficult terrain movement costs when your players attempt to move through this region. But if a player decides to change their movement type to say fly over this terrain, they can easily do so, and it won't affect their movement cost. But what if you don't want this entire region to be difficult terrain? Well, then you can create holes in the region by selecting whichever region you want to edit from this menu, then drawing additional shapes inside your previous region like this. Then go back into that region settings, go to the Shapes tab, and click this little circle right here to make it a hole. And now whatever rule you have enabled or changed for this region will not apply in this particular area. And of course, you can create as many holes as you want to. But what about the second thing that I mentioned? Well, you might have already seen it already or have taken a guess, but it's teleportation, and it even works between scenes. To do this, set up one region that you want to be a teleporter and another that you want to be the destination. You need to have 2 separate regions in order for this to work. Then go to Behaviors and select Teleport Token. And then here you can choose where you want your destination to be. If the destination is on the same scene, you can click, drag, and drop the region from the region legend into this section, and it will automatically add it. Sadly, as of now, you can only have one destination region, so you can't set up an elevator unless you are really good with macros or have the Monk's Tile mod installed. But if your destination region is on a different scene, then you need to go to that scene, open the settings for that region, then copy the UUID, which is found right here, and paste it back on your teleporter region in the previous scene. Also, don't forget to click this button to add it, and definitely do not forget to do this for both regions unless you only want it to be a one-way teleport, in which case, never mind. But with that, those are my top 5 hidden Foundry VTT features, and if you like this video or I showed you something new, then consider leaving a like or subscribing. But anyways everybody, thank you so much for watching this video as always, and hey, I hope to see you in the next video. Take it easy though. Bye-bye.